You love singing with me.
Welcome back to You Not Gonna Like This, episode 48, depicted by DLH, none other than formed by my cousin Donnie Donald Hunter. How do you prefer to address? I call you Donnie, so do you prefer the real name or the nickname?
It don't matter, big dog. It don't matter.
All right, well, Donnie,
but you know who it is, though.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. So, guys, we back interviewing brands. It's number 48. We've been in previous brands before. So things are kind of the same. We understand. I asked Don a few questions of why he got into his business. And then, a couple brand specific questions, and then it's forward. But before we do all that, Don, you can introduce yourself to the people.
All right, so what's going on? I'm Don with Depicted by DLH. So it's a photography and videography visual arts company. And so we do weddings, events, the whole host of things. Anything for just different businesses. And so we just try to be accommodating in all we do.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's always good to see every kind of brands have their focus on what their visions are and how they tag the scene that they are in. But so my first question for you is my first two-part question is why photography and what inspired you to be a photographer?
So photography all started from me doing, so after I modeled in Manhattan, I decided to do clothing. And so I was designing clothing for a little while. And then after I designed the clothing, I couldn't find anyone to photograph, the models I had in the clothing. And so I just fell into that because I've always been able to teach myself how to do what I need to do. Always had the hustle mentality. So, photography was the next step. And then God has allowed me to grow from that. And so, that's what we're here today.
It's tough. That's tough. But so explain the modeling thing. So how does modeling and you being a fashion designer briefly, how does that impact your brand as a photographer? Do you incorporate any of those styles or do you just have that separated from photography?
Well, it's more so being able to help models from the standpoint of I've been in your shoes before. And so then being able to incorporate the different angles with, the shots that need to get done. And so, it's easier from my perspective because I have been in their shoes and I can tell them, what to do and, maybe different things to wear for the shoot and to inform them that when you overthink, I can see that in the photo. So just try not to overthink. Just try to be calm, just try to be collective, just try to realize that, this isn't something that is going to be an all-day thing. Sometimes it may take a little longer, but, we take breaks during the process just so they can collect their thoughts. And then it can just be a seamless process with the photo shoot or whatever we're doing.
All right, that's all right. It's good to see that you got different influences for photography. Because a lot of times when I ask these questions, they're pretty broad, man. They're not really specified at this point because it's hard to. I'm not a photographer, so I don't know what can capture to the brand. When it comes to specializations like photography or any kind of artwork, everybody has a different way of why they got into it. They have a different way of how they make it, what influences them, and it's always good to hear the insights of that. But the next part of that question is the inspiration. So, who did you look up to in photography? What made you say, I want to be a photographer?
Me being a hustler. I don't really follow photographers. Interestingly enough, I don't have a lot of photography friends. You know what I mean? For me, it's just about appreciating the art of it and making sure that I'm putting forth my best foot, when I do the shoots and when I do the events and when I do, these different things, because at the end of the day, you want to be a beacon of light, Yeah. And so, when you're able to present yourself, as such, then it's a lot easier to have people comfortable when they're doing within the process. It makes it a lot easier for them because If I'm comfortable, then you're comfortable. But if I feel any anxiety or anything of that nature, that's going to play off into them, especially if they don't do it on a consistent basis. So example for weddings, you know, if I seem frantic and things of that nature, then the bride and groom are going to seem frantic. But if I'm cool, calm, and collected, then they'll feel the same way.
It's good to see professionals have poise when they know things they can be hot. So it's good to see those things. You know, the more professional, the more poised you are. Again, like you just said, the shoe turns out. You know, got a funny story about professionals and being poised. You know, I never forget this. When I was touring, when I was working at the camp with Chris back when I was 16, we went to Twin Lakes. We was walking the trail and stuff. Next thing you know, one of the kids is a cop in their sleep. Never forget it. The park ranger freaked out. Park ranger was just panicking like, oh, everybody to the right, everybody to the left. Cop ranger can get bit. And man, when we walked away from that, Chris was so upset. He was like, man, I don't know why he freaked out like that. He couldn't stand the kids, but we really had a problem. So power to you saying poise and key moments. Because I don't know what would have happened if the kid would freaked out when he freaked out, and some of the kids would have been paperwork for days. That'd have been so much work to be figured out, like what happened. So, shout out to all the professionals and whatever they do, keeping that cool and calm and making nature, because it just makes things so much better. It makes everybody, it makes the experience better, and just you get more out of it. You learn something when everybody is cool and everybody is just into it.
Exactly.
My next question for you is, depicted by DLH. All right, so what is the meaning behind the name? I know that the DLH stands for your name, of course, but how do you settle on this? And then what's the ultimate goal for you and the vision of it?
So I've always looked at things from a different perspective. And so I was trying to figure out a name for capturing instead of like photos or visuals or whatever name, and so I came up with Depicted, and then of course, DLH, my initials. And so, I mean, the biggest thing is when you change your name in your business, does it flow well? Is it something that people can say and it's not a mouthful? Can you be on this side with it, but also on the other side with it? And so this name is able to be versatile. And so I just thank God for laying this name on me so I can, use it and take it wherever I need to take it. And what was the other part of that you said?
What's the ultimate vision for DLH?
Ultimate vision is to be a company that inspires people to never settle. Whether you're in photography or whether you do podcasts or whatever, how can you be an impact in a positive manner to everyone out there? Because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to make it. We're all just trying to be successful, and all just trying to, showcase our talents in a way that people feel, okay, well, I can work with this person. This person is going to help me with what I'm trying to do. Or even if you're just trying to help people in general, you know what I mean? Everyone needs help in some aspect of life. And so if they can come to you and they can feel as though you care about, them as a person and what they're trying to do, or you take the time to understand their vision and figure out how you can help bring that vision to life, that always is a great thing. So I just try to make sure that, the company is something that years down the line, I'll be pleased with. Something that people can look at and say, okay, well, I can see God in this company. So that's just the goal for it.
I really like that. I like the versatility of the name. When I was at network event yesterday, she get out, do something. I don't know a lot of networking events. Being that I kind of enjoy doing the podcast, I figured I'd go out there and market a couple days to see what it's like. And it was, you know, I got every time I say that you're not gonna like this, every time they ask me the name of the podcast, everybody always laughs because they like to call the name. You don't like the podcast, but you don't like this. So it's always funny.
Yeah.
Always funny when I get that reaction. It's always cool. Like I remember when I was in February, I got that reaction. I still get it today. So it's always cool to see that. And, you know, same thing with my vision. You know, just like yo, you want something that you can gather for. You want something to have a positive influence. That's why, you know, I got the sports and I got the music, because you always know as a kid I've always been passionate about sports. So that's something I've always loved to talk about. So, you know, I incorporate that with triple threat and basketball shit, as well as really essential. I really attuned to music as I've gotten older. You know, so I just talk about projects and different, and the artwork is so in music. It's good to have all those things. You know, every time I look back, I'm definitely proud of what I have done this far. You know, and I hope for both of us, you know, we all can just keep growing and keep getting better each and every time we record or, you know, shoot, hold, or interview, anything like that, because you can only improve. You only can improve. You definitely only improve the more you do something.
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, on top of that, you know, like you said, like earlier you said that you're a hustler. That's why you are in it. But you said the only person you look up to is God, Christianity, and things of that nature. Being with that said, you have a verse in your Bible for the picture of Proverbs 6:23. I can't remember it correctly, but I do remember bits and pieces of that. If you stick with the plan God has for you, you will definitely succeed in whatever you do. So, you know, explain why that verse, because you know there's hundreds of verses in the Bible that you choose to pick every day. Why that specific verse, and then how intertwined is Christianity within your brain?
So the verse is commit to the Lord, and whatever you're doing, He'll establish your plan. So for me, that's major, because that's a little everyday thing. I mean, that's not just something that you can use with, you know, a visual arts company. It's something you can use in any company. You know, you wake up that day and you committed to the Lord. I mean, you really can't go wrong when you do that. You know what I mean? And so it helps you have a sound mindset when you attack whatever you're doing that day. And so, I mean, when I committed to the Lord, I know that at the end of the day, all things are going to work out in my favor. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, going through life in general, you go through so many trials and tribulations, and you know how it is to go through something. And so who is your leaning post? Are you leaning on people, or are you leaning on God? And so for me, I lean on God, because at the end of the day, you know, people can fail you all the time, but God never fails. You know, so, you know, we're only here for a certain period of time. And I mean, you know, while you're here, you want to make sure that you do what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? You want to take advantage of, you know, the right opportunities, not every opportunity, you know, because sometimes in business in general, you can get caught up in the money aspect, but money to me doesn't really mean anything. I mean, I've always been around money, I always had money. And so for me, it's more so about what is the benefit of doing this? Can I be a beacon of light when I do this? Can I impact somebody's day when I do this? Is this something that is going to add to my brand? You know, because I turn down stuff often. You know what I mean? Just because it doesn't align with what I'm trying to do for my business. Now, most people might be like, well, why would he turn down, you know, different things? Because sometimes, you know, you can feel the energy of people and understand that, you know, it's just not going to work well for your company. And so you always have to be mindful of who you work with and who you allow access to you, because those negative energies can be a bad thing at the end of the day. And so that all ties back into when you commit to the Lord, whatever you do, you know, then He'll be able to get praise from what you're doing.
That's good. I like that. I really like that. You know, it's good to see that you got core value. That's something that you hold your brand to. I mean, that's awesome. You know, when people have core values and they stick to them, they stick to why they got into the business, they stick to how they can materialize and make their business bigger, and not just focus on the monetary aspect of everything. You get that much more out of you. Everything. You get everything out of you. You just fall in love with what you do, and you just believe that, you know, from the most side of you, that things will come if you can stick towards it. It's good. It's real good to see that. But, you know, a lot of times a lot of people, they start their brands, and I see a lot of people that they fail at it because they don't have that core value. They don't know like what makes them go, what makes them stay within it. And that's something you gotta have if you want to be successful. I think that's the most important part of any business is the core value. If you don't have core values,
Yeah.
I highly doubt that your business will be very presentable and it will have much success because you don't have that vision. So definitely, that's definitely cool.
That's true.
You got
Oh, let me answer the other part of that, because you said, how does Christianity tie into it? So I would say it is the blueprint, really, for my business. I mean, it's enhanced it to a level that I couldn't have imagined. You know what I mean? It's a lot of, out here in Houston, it's a lot of well-known people here. And, you know, I've had the opportunity to work with them just off of networking or simply reaching out. And then, you know, you see these people and they have, you know, thousands and thousands of followers. And, you know, they're around all these other well-known people. And then for them to look at your stuff and be like, man, you have some really great stuff, you know, some really great work. I mean, it speaks volumes of how God can take you from the bottom higher up, you know what I mean? And just the progression of the business overall is nothing that I've done. It's all that he's done. And so him being the blueprint for the business, I mean, it's on a solid foundation. And so that's what has helped the business excel the way it has.
I like that. So that leads me to the next question I have for you is, like you said earlier, you do videography. So, you know, explain the kind of style of videography. I know like photography, there are multiple styles to do it. Explain what style you do for DLH and what's the inspiration behind that? What do you show that specific style? Or multiple styles if they know.
Typically speaking, with videography, it's for business owners. And so let's say they're doing a course or they're just giving more information about their company. We shoot video for that. We shoot video for different weddings. We shoot video for different events. So more along that lines versus, you know, music videos or different things of that nature. Like we also can do real estate videos. So how you do like the house tours. So, I mean, we're more focused on the, I would say, corporate aspect of videos. So more of the, I have my business and I'm established to a sense. So I need to get professional content shot. Okay, well, we can assist you with that. You know, versus like I said before, you know, we turn down things. Oh, well, I want to shoot a music video. Okay, well, that's not something that we do. Now, there's nothing wrong with shooting music videos, of course, but that's just not something that we do for our business.
So then, is there any specific reason why you don't really do music videos? I know you said corporate style. You don't think like if, let's say like a bigger, like an independent label, like it's a Rock Nation or Good Music for prime examples, you know, something like that, would you still be, you know, against doing music videos, being that they're still kind of corporate style brands? Would you still be against that, or would it kind of change because it's more professionalized in a sense?
Well, that goes all back to your core values. Like for me, let's say, I don't listen to rap music at all now, to be honest with you. So, I mean, if I don't even listen to it, why would I do it just because of it's, like you said, Rock Nation or something of that nature? You know what I mean? Now, if it's a video, as in they're sitting down doing a discussion about, you know, maybe something new that they have going on in the corporate realm, then yes. But if it's, oh, well, we need to do a music video, then no. And that's simply because that's not something that I believe in. You know what I mean? And so from my perspective, it's not something that I'm going to be interested in. I'm going to be interested in. So like, for example, if they're asking to do a video and they're asking to do this and this, and they're saying, okay, we'll give you $1 million. The average person would say, oh, I'll do it. I'll definitely do it. But for me, that's just not something that piques my interest. Because I mean, I want to do at this point, you know, when you have a business because it's something that you love, something that you enjoy. And so from my perspective, I don't love and enjoy music videos. So then I'm gonna just be doing it for the money. And if I'm doing it for the money, then I can just go work for somebody else. You see how all that ties into it? So from my perspective, that's not something I want to do. So that's not something I'm going to do. And remember, when you have your own business, you don't have to accept everything. And so for me, that's not something that I would accept. Because all of that core value.
That's good. That's good though. That's good though. You're not, as they call it, selling your soul. You're not selling your soul. You're sticking to what you started with, what you want to say with. That's really good. And a lot of people, especially in the rap scene, maybe that a lot of rappers, like, you know, they don't get that success from doing why they love music. They'll go make that single. Like, prime example that I have is J. Cole, one of my favorite rappers. That's one of my favorite rappers. And I remember he made Let Nas Down. He made Let Nas Down because that's when he came out with Workout back in 2011. And Nas had said he hated that song. So, and he said J. Cole had basically sold himself short because, you know, what he was making was good music. He felt like if he would have stayed to that, he would have gotten success either way, no doubt. So it's cool to see that you're not gonna go into that side to do it. You know, being that I am a J. Cole fan, Workout is not even one of the best songs on the album. With all due respect, like one of the best songs. Like I'll play Nobody's Perfect or Lost Ones, anything.
Yeah.
Or something. Cause I just like Cole rapping better. It just, you know.
Yeah.
I like the things he be saying. So it's like it's cool to see that, you know, no matter that you're in it past the money. Because like I said, you know, a lot of people when they go to college and things of that nature, people ask like, I want to go to college for the things that gets them the most money, but that's not always the best route because money isn't. That's very true. Money isn't everything. If you don't love what you do, I really don't think it matters how much you truly make. It's cool and all.
Exactly.
Money's nice, you know. Man, I can go buy me a new Jordans and new things I want anytime I want to. That's cool and all. But if you're not really loving or really enjoying what you're doing, I don't see how you can get to that high level of material success or even just enjoying the brand every day. I feel that's where a lot of people are in this entrepreneur movement that we're in. Everybody wants to start a business. Everybody wants to not have a 9 to 5 and find their whole life. Everybody wants something that is different and something that speaks volumes to what their life is. That's
exactly.
There's no better way you can. There's no better way you can do it. There's no power to stay true to yourself. I know. Because I know times it can be hard. Times you feel like you want to lead to that way, but you stay true.
Well, I mean, you don't feel as though you have any purpose. I mean, if you feel like you're here because of just to make money, that's really no purpose. You know, it has to be something deeper that you're here for. And so, I mean, you have to take time to figure out what that is because pretty sure God didn't let you get here just to make a whole lot of money. And because, you know, you see a lot of those people that make a whole lot of money, they're miserable. And so that'll show you, okay, well, it has to be more than money. You know, I saw a picture of, who was it? What's his name? Jeff Bezos, right? He had rented out an entire amusement park and he was on a roller coaster ride by himself. And it's like, you're the richest man in the world. You're on a roller coaster ride by yourself. Like, I mean, where is everybody? You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what that's about.
Kind of piece of purpose, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think you rent out an amusement park to have all your family there, but I mean, if you and your family aren't close.
By himself, like,
by himself.
That's pretty.
And if you see the picture, he looks miserable.
That's not it. That's not it.
No. Not at all.
I don't sound enjoyable at all. So guys, y'all for me, our businesses, y'all trying to find. Make sure you have that true passion, man. You know, figure out why you really want to do it. You really want to be part of it. You know, that's what you get interview. That's the best way you get people to look at you or view you. Prime example with the podcast, I say I stay focused. I interview almost every brand. I interview anybody I can. You know, it's just the only thing I got for you is just like you gotta be able to deliver. You gotta be able to get that message. So you know, music artists, like I do media attention, so I interview rap artists. I do musicians. My criteria, man, is I gotta like the music. I gotta be able to get with the music. If I can't get with the music, I can't fake it. I can't get up here and just spew questions and ask you, and I don't even like the music. That's disservice to the show and disservice to you.
That's true.
And same thing with the brands. Like if I don't really like the brand, I'm all cool for it. Reaching out and I don't like declining people, but if you gotta decline somebody, you got to. It's like it's not deep. Yeah. If I can't feel what you are presenting or you're doing, then how can anybody else feel it? How can you yourself feel it?
Exactly.
And people
and so you.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and so you know the purpose behind what you're doing, and so that makes your journey even better because okay, well, if this person comes and I'm not interested in what they're like, especially if they're talking about degrading women or something of that nature, and you don't stand for that, and for a fact, okay, well, I don't care if you have 1 million followers on Instagram, I might have to turn you down because you're not discussing things that I'm interested in, and you're not promoting something that is beneficial to other people who are going to watch it.
That's why when I because I've been building shit with that session. That's why I'm real selective on who I want to host things for me and things of that nature because I gotta make sure that you can speak your truth, but you just be doing it for real passion. Being that I'm forming that now within it, I'm getting people that's true passion. I'm getting people that I really like investing in what they do, and it just I know that with time and effort that we're all gonna do figure out something. We'll all be successful. It makes sense. But some of you just gotta stay tuned to. But so photography wise, for ourselves here on Inaco, like we're gonna meet the artists. We're gonna meet John from Atlanta. We're gonna meet Tyler and Aaron both that I went to school here in Mason in the Nola DC area. And we interviewed Blake, who's from Atlanta as well. So it's like explain to me, is photography different by the city? Are there different styles? And if there are different styles, what style do you use that you emulate the most? And why that?
From my perspective, the blueprint that I have, I can go anywhere and shoot. So I mean, photography shouldn't be more so based on where you are. Photography should be something that you can utilize wherever. So like I've done shoots in LA, I've done shoots in New York, I've done shoots all over. And so with that in mind, how can I go to another city and still do well? Like I remember I went to Atlanta for one shoot, and one of the people that was at that shoot, assisting with that shoot, told me that, hey man, let's book a shoot. I want to book a shoot with you for tomorrow. And so I ended up going to Atlanta thinking I was going to make one amount and ended up making, $500 more than I anticipated on making. But that's because of my core values and my blueprint. So me, putting the day in God's hands, not knowing what's going to happen and just being my authentic self, I think that helped out in the process. And then me having a clear understanding of what I'm doing. If you're knowledgeable about what you're doing and you're assisting, with the shoot, you're not just standing there, you're coaching the person through, you're giving them different poses, you're making sure, all their outfit is fixed, for women, if their hair is fixed and things of that nature, all of that ties into the shoot itself. And so in reality, in a perfect shooting setting, you would have 5 people, right? So you have the photographer, the makeup artist, the hairstylist, the actual stylist, and then the model, right? So you have the model, of course, but you take away the rest of it, who's doing that? The photographer, if they know what they're doing. And so people think, okay, well, photographers charge for the shoot price. No, you have to incorporate the aspect of, okay, well, they have to edit the photos as well. So if they spent an hour or 2 hours editing, depending on the photos could take 15 minutes to edit. You see what I'm saying? And so all of that ties into it. So, you know, when you present your price to people, you know, if they understand, you know, the way your brand works and the people that you work with, and they see their good quality, then they won't have a problem with paying the price. And so majority of the time, people that try to negotiate on the price are people that are used to those cheaper shoots. So what I see often is people spend money on all this designer, you know, material, and then look for somebody that will do $150 shoot. And it's like, okay, well, if you're invested money, invested in the photographer. You know, you invest in all these clothes, but then the pictures aren't coming out the way you appreciate. And the thing about Instagram is people won't tell you if the photo doesn't look good or if the quality is bad. They'll just say, oh, that's a great photo. And then behind the scenes, they're talking about, oh man, that wasn't a good shot. But they're not gonna openly tell you that. And so from my perspective, I try to make sure that, you know, you're getting a great shot so that it ties into everything that you have on. And so then having great pictures and great video footage adds value to your brand. So if you're not investing in the visual art side of your brand, it's not going to grow the way you anticipate. And so you have to work with, I always tell people, work with people who are knowledgeable about what they're doing. So if you're knowledgeable about podcasts and I'm knowledgeable about videography and photography, then it works well. Versus you being knowledgeable about podcasts, me being knowledgeable about podcasts, and then me not being knowledgeable about visual arts. Then I'm trying to do your job. You see what I'm saying? Versus you doing your job, you know what you're doing, I'm doing my job, I know what I'm doing. And so that it doesn't clash.
You know, that's community that you have is important. You know, you build your business that you can succeed anyway. You don't capture yourself into any box, and that's real important. You know, like saying with this podcast here, you know, I call it pop culture. It's pop culture. If everybody knows pop culture, you know, that's everything. There's no true definitive nature of the podcast. Like if I want to talk about politics, we talk about politics. If I want to talk about, I call them Twitter conversations, you know, community conversations. You know, we can talk about that. If we want to talk about sports, we talk about sports. Music. It just gives me so many more avenues. It gives me so many more avenues that allows me to always be successful. You know, like you said, when it's two professionals that collaborate on their craft, it's only success can really only be the outcome. I believe, you know, it can fail. You know, I'm not saying it's not possible to fail, but you know, when you got two professionals linking together, it makes sense. And, you know, that's why, like, you know, I remember one time I told the story a couple episodes ago about Filet. Filet came out when COVID first happened. He made videos for people. So he said, all right, you know, if you pay me this, all right, cool, I'll do your video. And people, you know, they were criticizing like, oh, why is it this much? Why is it that? Why is it that? And that's not how you should go about it at all. Because one thing about when it comes to those total prices on anything that you pay for at the grocery store, at Walmart, even if you go to a furniture store like shoes or something, you know, you paying for how they present it to you, all the work that took them to get to that $500, that $400, that $700. You paying for that because it didn't happen overnight. Nothing
Exactly.
just boom, like, oh yeah, they were masters and professionals at their craft. Like, I'm a firm believer, you know, if you pay for 150, don't be mad if you get 150. You pay for what you asked.
Yeah.
You can't be mad at somebody to give you $150 of work and that's all you pay for. You can't get the best craft, you don't pay for the best craft. That's why, you know.
Yeah.
Back to the selection of the brand. That's why I'm grateful to one of the brands that I choose anyway, because, you know, I gotta see you got a vision. I gotta see that, you know, why should people work with you? What's the reason behind it? You know, artistry. Every interview that I do, you gotta have that message. You gotta have that mission, the deliverance, everything.
Exactly.
You know, when people hear about you, they're like, oh yeah, he's legit. I need him right now. I need him right now. Then I can work with others and henceforth, so many great things can come from just, you know, getting to your core values and building your brand from the top and building in a way that cannot be emulated or mimicked by others. And that's the authenticity.
And I think the biggest thing people don't realize about having a brand is you are the brand. So I mean, if people don't like you, I don't care how good your work is. I mean, they're not gonna work with at the end of the day. And so, I mean, you have to be the person that they are easy to talk to, are understanding of what they're trying to do, being able to bring their vision to life, you know, all of that ties into it. And so people think, oh, well, you know, I'm just saying from the photography perspective, videography perspective, people think, oh, well, I have the best camera, I have the best lens, but you're not the best person. So that's always going to, you know, deter people from working with you. Because I mean, if I have a wedding, I want somebody who is able to move around, to get different shots that are everywhere. You know, I don't have to worry about, you know, saying, hey, can we get these shots, or hey, can we do this over there? Because you're already over there. You're already doing what needs to be done. You know, and so if you're a down-to-earth person, you are an enjoyable person, you know, and like I said, you know, if God is your foundation, then, I mean, you're going to be easy to talk to. People are going to enjoy being around you. You know, you're letting your light shine and people can see that. And so I think that's another big aspect of owning the business is you have to be a servant first. So someone who, you know, basically understands what needs to be done and is able to get it done, but also don't allow people to step on you. And sometimes people are too much of a servant that people try to talk down on them or something of that nature. So you also have to be firm in what you're doing as well.
You know, as a personal trainer, I speak to that wholeheartedly. Like, people gotta like me, man. I can't, like, exercise is always hard as it is. You know, just because I look good, then people are just gonna be like, oh yeah, he's the guy. I gotta be likable. I gotta be, like you said, a servant. Like, that's what personal trainer is. Like, do I have the knowledge and everything to do anything I can please to get you your goals? Oh yes, no doubt, definitely have that.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta make sure you enjoy the process, because if you don't enjoy the process to your goals, then you're not gonna enjoy me as a trainer, and you know,
exactly,
really experience as a person, and that's not
yeah.
what you want. You know, being just likable, not being overly smart, sophisticated, anything or expert in your craft. Just simply being likable to others.
Mm-hmm.
Do so much for you, and you know. But like you said, you gotta make sure you have that fine balance. You know, nice and kind. You know. And I saw a video one time. It was about a video about, you know, always the biggest thing in the world is nice guys always finish last. They always say. And it was an old dude. He came in there. He said, "All right, I see what you're saying, but there's a difference between being nice and kind. You know, it's cool.
Huge difference.
You want to be kind. Like, kind means like, I'm gonna greet you when I see you. You know,
exactly.
I'm gonna speak highly of you. I'm not gonna talk bad about you when you're back. That's a kind person. But you know, kind people, they not runovers. Like, you know, like me personally, I'm a nice person. Like, I'm always gonna treat you with the utmost respect. That's how I am. But I got triggered with it. There's fine lines. And if you cross those fine lines, I definitely will meet you where you need me. And that's just how that is. And that's you want to be kind. Like, being nice and being a pushover, that's not what we want. That's not what you want. You want to be that. You still want to be genuine and respectful of others, but you still want to have that. All right, you know, don't take my respect for granted. And that's something that I feel like is lost a lot. And hopefully we get back to those times, because it can get rough sometimes. But
well, I think it's just being accommodating and cordial. You know what I mean? I'm here for a purpose. You know, let me make sure I get that purpose done, and then I'll go ahead and leave. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. 1,000% agree with that. But you know, my last question for you is, you know, we basically talked about the brand as a whole. We talked about why you started, was what really encapsulates it, what makes DLH DLH. My final question is, what's next for yourself, and then what's next for your photographer? So you got self-coach now, and you got the photographer. This bring me to that point. What you got going for yourself?
You know, I've never been one to discuss things before they happen. So I have a few things in the works. So maybe we have another time I discuss that once it gets into effect. But it's a lot of the great thing about photography is it opens up new doors for you. And so for me, you know, I have my degree in economics. So being on the business side of things, you know, is something that I do. So that's opened up doors for a lot of new opportunities, and I'm just thankful for it. And so from the photography aspect, it's just more so about finding more people that I can be a benefit to. So coming across, you know, more couples for their special day, or finding business owners who know where they want their business to go, but don't understand how to get there. And so, you know, I do brand consulting and, you know, marketing, you know, strategic marketing. And so I'm able to, as I discussed before, you know, if you're specializing in this and I specialize in this, then leave this up to me. You know, I'll tell you what we need to do. I'll tell you how we need to get it done. I'll lay out a timeline for when everything needs to get done. And so with that in mind, you know, I'm just trying to find more businesses who can benefit from that. Because so now what I do, instead of just shooting with, you know, whoever comes about, you know, I'm getting to 10 people that I want to work with monthly, right? And so outside of those 10 people and outside of, you know, weddings and events, I'm not doing photography. So I can focus on those other businesses that I'm working on. And so everything is aligned and everything is in order. And so I know, okay, well, I have these 10 people to shoot with this month. I have this person on this day, this person on this day. And so outside of those dates, I can input my other things I have going on. And so I think a big thing about, you know, just running a business in general is organization and being timely. And, you know, not a lot of times people are timely or organized. And so I think that's a key thing when you have a business is if you do those things, then people feel as though they can entrust what they need to get done into your hands. And so, like I said before, it makes them seem more relaxed because you're knowledgeable and you're relaxed versus you not being organized and then you feeling hectic because, okay, well, I need to do this, this, and this. And now they're feeling frantic as well. And so I think that's something that, you know, organization is a big thing that I'm focused on, making sure I stay organized in the near future. And that way I have these goals set. So that way I know what I need to do in order to reach those goals. Because I try to set, you know, 3-month goals versus setting 6-month or year goals because times change so often. And so I try to set these immediate goals first. So that way they can propel me even higher. And so what I may have thought last year I would be at this point this year, you know, I'm already past that. And so now I see, okay, well, set short-term goals first. And of course you have a long-term goal, you know, of course, long-term, you want to be able to just shoot with, you know, for me, just shoot with, like I said, a certain amount of people, but, you know, I'm already working on that. And that's why I'm doing those monthly people.
That's all right. That's great. That's awesome. That's good. That's good. I like the way I like everything the way you guys said it. You know, you go back to your first release and you see how that aligns with your goals and everything that you have next for yourself. And I feel like that's really powerful. I really enjoy that you use it kind of for everything that you do. And that's again, like I said earlier, it's extremely important to have that inner passion. Gotta have that intrinsic reward or that intrinsic belief for you for anything extrinsically. You know? Exactly. Good, that's good. Well, you know, it kind of sums up everything that I shared for you today. You know, everything you know from Black Person Law. This is episode 48, guys. You know, next week, AceVizuals, another photographer, staff videographer. That's next week. And then after that, episode 50, man. You know, working long and hard, a lot of tough times. 2 years in the making. You know, we've been working hard, so finally see that I'm at number 50. So, you know, that's gonna be a live episode on Instagram Live and, you know, do my thing there. You know, talk about some of my favorite things I've done this far and what's next. You know, everything is going in a positive direction. So, you know, definitely stay definitely focus on that. If you don't watch Music Central or Triple Threat, check them out. You know, work hard on that music game. So far, at this point we've released Act 1, basically working with Essential, where everybody talking about their favorite projects, For Your Eyes Only, Malibu, Ready to Die, Relapse, and Season 3. But right now, we're into the 90s section. Southern Playlists of Cadillac Music, 36 Chambers, Chronic, Dog Style, some I forget, can't remember the top of my head, but you know, those projects are on that. Triple Threat, we got articles, man, basketball articles, so you know. One of my co-hosts, PJ, wrote one not too long before the draft, so check that one out. I know the draft's over, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to read a little bit. It's only 5-10 minutes, and you know, with the spec next year, if he does it. So you know, that's everything we got going on here. You're not gonna like this. As always, this your host. I'm Don. I appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh yeah, appreciate you. Congratulations on all the success, man. You're doing big things.
Thank you.
Love
Man.
to see it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on the show too. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no doubt, anytime. But you know, that's all I really got for you all today. You guys today, as always, it's your host, Irish, signing off, and see y'all soon.
You love singing with me.